Hi everyone, here is another Heygo rerun. This time we show off the Statue of Liberty by boat. We hope you enjoy. This was in March of 2023.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome aboard.
Well, ahoy, mateys.
We're happy you're with us. New York City, it's time for the Statue of Liberty. The Wi-Fi on the boat seems strong so far. Fingers crossed it holds up for us all. As you may or may not know, we are reliant on the boat's Wi-Fi for today's journey.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is strong right now.
Sun is strong.
We've rolled the dice and signed on to the Wi-Fi, and it always feels like it does feel like a roll of the dice whenever we have to rely on the Wi-Fi wherever we are, because, you know, anything could happen.
Here are things that are strong today. The Wi-Fi, the wind, the sun, our coffee, and the Heygo viewers.
Yeah, this is a popular tour, so you know the chat is gonna scroll by quickly.
Yeah, remarks as well. Somebody said, yeah, the remarks are strong too. But it really is a beautiful day. We got super lucky.
We lucked out.
I mean, I wish I could say 2 months ago when we planned this tour, we knew it was going to be a sunny, beautiful day.
Yeah, we still have about 3.5 minutes before we get going on this tour. The boat, right at the, I almost said downbeat, the downbeat, like the orchestra, right at the top of the tour. The tour will leave. The boat will leave right at 10:30. It's 9 degrees Celsius, 49 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and winds up to 26 miles per hour. Yeah. So this boat could be rocking.
Don't come a knocking.
Don't come a knocking. If this boat's a rocking, Heygo is knocking. No,
okay. You tried it.
I tried it. It failed. It failed.
Also, will you be included? Wait. Not sure what that means.
Yeah, Joe and Ann, I don't know what you mean. Sorry, just hit you in the back. So welcome everybody. We're 2.5 minutes away from starting. By the way, if you're new to us, let us know in the chat. And if you are new to us, I'm Aaron.
Oh yeah, and I'm Patrick, and we're glad you're here.
And yeah, we're happy you're with us today, and it's going to be a nice journey. We hope.
Yeah,
we think.
This could get pretty busy too. By the way, the chat. We don't. I don't think there's as many viewers as there were the last time.
Shelley, it is crowded today on the boat. There's a lot of folks on. It's we're in the premier section. We bought the premier tickets, which are about $5 more. Normally it's about $30. The premier is $35 today, different on the weekends. And we did that just so that we would be sure that we were on.
Yeah,
and we had a good spot.
And we had a good spot. There's a little there's a section up on the upper deck that is for the premiere if you spend the extra $5. And we wanted to make sure that we had like a little nook over in the corner to be able to go to.
Yeah, $35 each.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like tomorrow, it's a Monday. I think the regular fees were $25 because it's a weekday.
Yeah.
So it just varies. And I bet in the summertime they probably bump it up a little bit more. As you know, it's super windy. By the way, let us know if you're having. We've got our wind protector on. Oh, good. Thanks for saying that, Linda.
Great.
And once we take off, it'll get even windier. So if it gets bad, we can. We may have some tricks up our sleeve. I don't know. We could go down there actually and hide behind that wall as long as nobody's there. So fingers crossed, it's all good. We did, Sarah. We took care of all of it. Cindy, no, we are not on the Staten Island Ferry. We're on the Circle Line cruise. The Staten Island Ferry is free, but we can't get a signal on the Staten Island Ferry. We have to rely on the signal on the Circle Line.
Yeah, Mike, we're on the boat now. No, we haven't seen Bad Cinderella. I think it just opened.
Yeah. Welcome everybody. We're about 20 seconds away from starting. We think. I mean, honestly, we're at the mercy of the boat. So when the boat horn blows, we go.
Yeah, I feel like there's something like, I think there's like three short horn blows.
Toot, toot, toot.
Yeah. I think that
like
means,
that? It's like that.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody tuning in. It is the top of the hour.
Let's go.
So we're going to wait for the ship captain to blow the horn, and then we'll be pulling away from the dock. It is currently 10:30 a.m. here in New York City. We had to plan this time for the tour because that's what time the boat leaves. We are on the Circle Line cruise. So a couple disclaimers about this. We are at the mercy of their Wi-Fi because we don't have a signal once we get out into the water. We don't have our phone service signal, so we're using their Wi-Fi. So if their Wi-Fi goes south, we love you all and we'll see you on the next tour. But fingers crossed it stays strong and we'll be here for the full hour. But just know, also know, if we do go away, sometimes it does dip and come back. And we have our other phone with us as well. So if something does happen, stick around for at least a minute or so because we're going to be trying things on our end, but hopefully we're good to go.
Yeah, we're prepared. Sorry, I'm reading Mike's thing. We're prepared to switch phones if we have to. I think the last time we did this, we might have had to switch back and forth. So just know that if something happens, we will. It won't be long. We'll switch to the other phone and get back on.
Also, it is a live tour, so feel free to ask us any questions along the way. A couple things about questions. You've probably noticed there's a new feature on Heygo that's pretty fantastic where the questions stand out to us in blue. So we see them a little bit easier, but also know that if you're asking your friend, like, hey, Patrick, how are the cookies you made yesterday? That will show up in blue as well. So, in those instances, maybe for right now, while Heygo's still figuring out the feature, go ahead and leave that question mark out if it's in between chat questions. So that way those blue questions stand out to us a little bit better.
We also, I'm sure they're tweaking all of this as they're figuring it all out, but the blue boxes that come up in the questions, they're blue boxes and dark blue lettering. So we have a little trouble reading it, especially in the sun. So we're going to try to keep up with everything, but just know that if we do miss a question, we will try to get back to it, but we may miss some of them.
Yeah. Another thing about questions, too, sorry we keep harping about it, as we wait for the boat to take off. On our return trip from the statue, we're going to be seeing similar skyline views, so that's an easy time for us to catch up with a lot of questions. So if we miss a question while we're on the way, or while we're by Ellis Island, or while we're by Liberty Island on the return trip, it's much easier for us to get to some of those questions. I didn't give the temperature. You did during the hellos, but I didn't at the top of the tour. It is 9 degrees Celsius. It is 49 degrees Fahrenheit, and the sun is beaming down. As you can see, we have clear skies. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous day. Karen, thanks for following us. That's the best way to find out when we add new tours, or even when we repeat tours that you might have missed in the past. Also, you can take pictures on these tours, which is such a great, cool thing. I don't know how they figured out. People much smaller. Oh, our boats are pulling away from the dock. That's exciting. You can take pictures on this tour. Anytime you see something you like, hit that picture button, and the picture will be saved in your Heygo profile. You can share those with your family or friends, or even your enemies. You can turn that relationship around.
Oh yeah, I went to the negative again. I was going to say make them jealous. Look where I went. Get ready. Oh, I should also say you might hear the boat's guide below us every now and then. So just know we're going to keep doing our normal tour, but if you hear another person talking, it's him on the speaker. But we picked the quietest spot so we don't hear him as much.
I'm just going to point out. Yes. I'm going to show the other. So I'm going to zoom in on the identical.
Oh yeah.
Just to show you where we are. We're on this boat. We are on that upper deck, right standing in the back in that corner nook. So that gives you an idea of where we're standing, just so you have an idea. And there's a little bit of the New York skyline right there.
And you're going to see the Intrepid start coming into view, which is this giant battleship just north of us. So that was served in the U.S. Navy for over 3 decades, beginning in 1943. Played a role in World War II, the Cold War. There we go!
And then I think we'll get 3 short. Yeah.
Yep, there we go. Toot, toot, toot. Patrick called it. All right, so everybody, welcome aboard the Circle Line cruise. We're pulling away from roughly 42nd Street, all the way on the west side. We're in the Hudson River right now. Again, that's the Intrepid you're seeing right there. The canopy you're seeing on the left, by the way, is the Space Shuttle Enterprise that when did it come? Let's see, it was 2012 or so, 2011
I
or 12.
remember when it happened. I mean, I remember it happening. I just don't remember.
Didn't you see it coming in?
We saw it flying around. It flew around Manhattan a couple of times. I was in a taxi cab with my mom on the West Side Highway. We saw it fly by.
Bringing it in. The Intrepid was decommissioned in 1974, and then it reopened right here in 1982 as a museum. And in that museum, you'll see the history of the ship, crew, numerous spaceships, but other ships and aircrafts, including a World War I biplane. You can see a little bit of the Concorde supersonic, the tail of it back there.
Yeah.
And then you also see a Norwegian cruise line there in the distance.
Exactly.
So this is where the cruise line
lots of cruise lines
shops as well. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Anita. Yep, that's a Norwegian cruise line. Very popular stopping spot. We're looking north right now on the Hudson River.
If you zoom in, you can see the George Washington Bridge right there, or as New Yorkers call it, the GW.
Yeah. And we are smack dab in the middle of the Hudson River. It looks like we're going to go north. Should we tell the captain he's driving the wrong way?
You're going the wrong way.
The statue is south. But we're in the Hudson River right now. It's about a 315-mile river, or about 507 kilometers. And it flows from north to south, primarily through eastern New York. It is named after Henry Hudson, the English sailor who sailed for the Dutch East India Company, explored in 1609. Now, the Hudson River gained major significance, as a lot of you know from our previous tours, because of the Erie Canal. So when the Erie Canal was established, it really opened up shipping to the Midwest because of the Great Lakes. And so that's when the Hudson River really started to take off. There goes my hat. I mean, I still have it, but it's starting to go. I'm just going to take it off and put it in my pocket. Stick with us. So there you're looking at the west side of Manhattan right now. So if we were to go straight in, we would be in the heart of Times Square. This is the Intrepid right here, where we were leaving from. Thanks, Christine. Kathy, we'll see that in just a little bit, where the World Trade Center area is.
The very southern end of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where the World Trade Center site was.
And as we make our way along the west side, we'll talk a lot about some of these sites we'll be seeing on the west side. By the way, the wind is blowing camera and our gimbal, so you might get a little bit of jitteriness every now and then.
Hopefully we'll go for a swim.
It is a beautiful day, Dean. It's 9 degrees Celsius, 49 degrees Fahrenheit, and yeah, like Patrick said, hopefully you won't go for a swim. So what you're seeing right here, this tall complex of buildings, this is all Hudson Yards. So it's a 28-acre, 11-hectare real estate development project. It's bordered by 10th and 12th Avenues and 30th and 33rd Streets. 13 of the 16 buildings that are there are built on a platform over the west side rail yard, and that's a storage yard for the Long Island railroads. And we'll see that a little bit more clearly as these buildings start to clear. You'll see the vessel coming into view. The vessel is going to come like a big honeycomb, sort of like tornado, basically.
You can see it there, in the bottom center of your screen. I'll zoom in a little bit. That's there. The vessel, which we show at the end of our Highline tour usually. No. Sorry, the camera's a little shaky because the wind is blowing.
Should I try to stand here? Is that maybe helpful? I don't know.
Sure, maybe, yeah.
We'll see. I'll try. I'm going to use my body as a block. So the vessel was designed by Thomas Heatherwick, who also designed Little Island, which we're going to see coming up in just a little bit. He's a UK-based designer. And the vessel's about 16 stories tall, about 150 feet or 46 meters. And it's part of the Hudson Yards complex. And its main purpose is honestly to be this sort of a transformative, monumental structure that draws people to Hudson Yards and is kind of a nice little sight to see over there. Shelley, have we walked to the top of the vessel? Yes, we have. Currently, walking to the top of the vessel is for safety reasons. We did it literally on the first day it opened. We signed up for tickets in 2019, the first day it opened, and we hiked up to the top. They also have elevators that take you up to the top as well. I think they're still figuring out safety stuff there, and hopefully they figure that out soon. But that whole Hudson Yards area is real estate. There's hotels over there. There's shopping.
It's all brand new Manhattan real estate that wasn't there. I don't know. When did that start? Maybe 15 years ago. 10.
When they started building it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, about 11, I think.
Yeah, it's all come into being in the last 10 or 15 years. So all of those buildings you're seeing. So that's it's kind of crazy to think that in the 2000s they've managed to create brand new Manhattan real estate.
The idea of it came from, by the way, the New York City's bid in, I think, 2012 for the Olympics.
Oh, right, yeah.
You're going to see a ship coming into view called the Frying Pan. We like pointing this out right here, this red boat right in the middle of your screen. It's all the way over at, what is that, probably about 19th Street or so. Yeah. And in the summertime, it's a great place to come get burgers and fries and some beers and, lovely down and dirty cocktails. It's not fancy, but it's a nice way to be out on the water and enjoy a nice day in the summertime there at the Frying Pan.
There's a glimpse of the Empire State Building there, right in the center of your screen.
Great shot of it there. We'll chat a little bit more about that on our way back uptown as well, because I want to talk about Chelsea Piers coming into view right now. Some folks are asking about going into Hudson Yards from the High Line. Yeah, we actually do that on our High Line tour.
Yeah, you are able to go to directly into Hudson Yards from the High Line. Yeah, it's nice.
So coming into view right now is the Chelsea Piers Sports and Entertainment Complex. It's a couple of piers right here. You're seeing on the view a 28-acre waterfront sports village between 7th and 3rd Streets. Privately funded finance project. It opened in 1995. It's on Piers 59, 60, and 61. And you'll see coming to view right here this multi-storied driving range. They also have numerous sports and training facilities, 2 full-size ice rinks, a health club, bowling alley. There's a wedding and event space out here right at the end of that middle pier that you were seeing there. It also includes some film studios, television production studios right there.
And that
Chelsea
building
Piers.
there that's sort of slanted, that's New York's Leaning Tower of Manhattan.
First glimpse of it. It's actually a new apartment building. I think it's called XI, as in 11, because it's on 11th Avenue. That's what it's called. I could be fully making that up. And here comes Little Island right here into view. So Little Island, we were chatting about earlier, was formed by, designed by Thomas Heatherwick, and we do a tour of Little Island. Our next one will probably be in about a month. We're waiting for things to kind of green up there on Little Island, because it's a public park, about 2.5 acres or 1 hectare. It's between 13th and 14th Streets. Sort of looks like high heels or upside down garlic. But tulips are what they're going for, those big foundations. And it's meant to inspire imagination and creativity and offer visitors of all ages a one-of-a-kind relationship with nature and art. And it was just, with the idea of it being a floating, upside-down floating leaf in the water. Ooh, with a great view of Empire State Building there in the background. Switch sides?
Sure.
What do you think? Before, or do you want to show south before? I don't want to lose there's a boy in our good spot on the other side, so I'll wait. I bet he'll get antsy and move, and then we'll move over there. Yeah, so now you're looking down at the southern tip of Manhattan.
Someone asked about where the World Trade Center site was. That tallest building there in the shot is One World Trade, and that is pretty much right there where the World Twin Towers stood.
Now that our hats are off, our hair is going to be so teased high by this wind by the end of the tour.
Hats off to you.
Try and see. What do you think? You want to hang here? Move to the other side.
Is that spot open?
I think we could sneak in.
Okay.
Why don't I? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the gimbal from Patrick and let him sort of lead the way. And we're going to sneak into... Oh, are they stealing our nook? Somebody else took our nook.
Yeah.
Stuck our nook is what I said. Took our nook right as we were getting ready to go over. So we're going to stay in this little nook because it's a little, it's a good spot. So we'll stay here for right now and show off this side as we make our way south.
Nookless.
We're
also keeping an eye on our signal too, just because as we get farther away from Manhattan, our signal might dip, and we'll have to jump on the Wi-Fi again.
We might be able to sneak in there. You want to go?
Okay.
I'll hang. I'm gonna keep our nook. I'm gonna wait for Patrick to go steal the other nook, and then I'll move over and join him. Oh, and my hat fell at the same time. I think I failed us. Should I stay? No. Yeah, he's shaking his head, so we'll stay on this side and hang over here for right now. So yeah, this is all of Lower Manhattan. Now take a notice of this structure you're seeing right here in the middle. This is actually a ventilation system for the Holland Tunnel right here. Yeah. Patrick is back.
Yeah, there's some teenagers over there just kind of hanging out, so I think we'll stay on this side.
Actually, can we do a zoom? Look at the folks kayaking in the... some folks kayaking in the Hudson River on this windy day. That's incredible.
Yeah, the wind is...
Looks like a flock of birds, but it's actually about 8 folks in kayaks. It's winds of up to 26 miles per hour.
Yeah, sorry, the wind is sort of making the gimbal shake a little bit, but those...
And 9 degrees Celsius, 49 degrees Fahrenheit, so they're also getting some chilly weather out there on the choppy waters. I was just talking about the ventilation when you came back up as well for the Holland Tunnel. So that's where they are as well. You thought it was ducks, Lynn. No, just some good folks having a good old time in the good old Hudson River on some good old kayaks.
Yeah, that's right. What a view. So we're heading into the southern end of Manhattan now.
Now, I'm going to start talking about Ellis because we're at some point soon we're going to see Ellis Island. When we get a good clearing, we'll move to that side. But I'll give some information about it first. So Ellis Island was from 1892 to 1924. It was America's largest and most active immigration station. So prior to that, we would have seen the immigrants would have been processed in Battery Park. And sorry, I'm going to pause. I'm just looking to see if Patrick's waving me to the other side. Yeah, he's waving me over. Okay, so I'm going to pause on Ellis Island. We're inside of the boat. Thank you. All right, here we go. I'm going to join the wonderful Patrick on this side. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So now we're looking at the Jersey side of things. We're looking at Jersey City right now. By the way, before I jump more into Ellis Island, you're going to see a giant Colgate clock coming into the scene soon. It's situated where the headquarters of Colgate-Palmolive used to be. Colgate left the area in the 80s, and it has remained on this site. Goldman Sachs now has the site. But that's that Colgate clock. I just want to talk about that because you'll see it and right there, and I want you to know what that's about before we keep going. So, Ellis Island's going to come into view soon. So again, from 1892 to 1924, Ellis Island was America's largest and most active immigration station. So prior to that, they were processed down on Battery Park, and before that, they would have actually been processed on the boats as they came over by the ship captain with an authority customs house. It is getting super windy. Goodness. So over 12 million immigrants were processed here on Ellis Island. The inspection process would have taken about 3 to 7 hours. For many, this was the island of hope. First stop on their way to new opportunities and experiences. And for many others, this would have been an island of tears, a place where they were separated from their family, denied entry for various reasons. So upon arrival, immigrants were ushered into a room called the Great Hall, and they would have been paraded before a series of medical officers for physical inspection. Okay, so they would have entered the Great Hall when they arrived.
Oh, is the wind so you can't hear? Can you hear us?
It's all good. Okay, good. Thanks so much. So they would have entered the Great Hall. They would have been paraded before a series of medical officers, and then most were allowed to pass within a matter of seconds. But those who were deemed physically or mentally deficient were marked with chalk, and then they were taken away for additional screening. They were forced to submit to more detailed questioning and medical exams, and then if there were any signs of contagious disease or physique or lots of freedom died amidst on those grounds. The downstairs area is better because there's a little nook downstairs that is oftentimes less windy, but sometimes more crowded. So he's going to go check that out, and he might give me a wave to go down and join him. But later years, we would have seen Ellis Island started to kind of have puzzles and memory tests to ensure that certain immigrants were intelligent enough to find work once they arrived. They also could have faced rejection if they were anarchists, if they had a criminal record, if they showed low moral character. All right, that's a little bit better. Thanks for bearing with us there for a second. So, it closed in 1954 ultimately, and after closing, the building sat for several years until they were partially reopened for tours in the 70s. And the plans for a museum didn't come about until the 80s, and it is now a museum. You can go visit Ellis Island. It's a terrific museum with lots of incredible exhibits. It really is great. Definitely check it out. Oh, is it still better? Let us know if it's still better. I hope it is. We kind of moved to a different little nook because if we're inside, sometimes we get the glare of the windows. So we'd rather stay outside and put up with a little bit of wind to get better pictures. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. Yeah, I think that. Okay, good. Yeah, we found an even better nook as well. All right, so there you got some good shots of Ellis Island. So now, if you were to visit Ellis Island, you would go on the Liberty Island cruise ship. Now, if you leave from Battery Park in Lower Manhattan, you would go from Battery Park to Liberty Island to see the Statue of Liberty, then to Ellis Island, then back to Battery Park. If you leave from the Jersey side, you go to Ellis Island first, and then to Liberty Island, and then back to the Jersey side as well. The island, by the way, is about 27 of Ellis Island, about 27 acres or about 11 hectares, and you don't see all of it when you go over. In fact, the buildings that are on the south side are not open. They do every now and then do a hard hat tour. You can purchase extra tickets for that take you into a little bit more of it. Oh, there it is. How terrific. Cecilia, get it. Ellis Island. I'm going to be on their Wi-Fi, but it's just too difficult. Here's Our Lady Liberty, 151 feet, 46 meters, including the pedestal, 305 feet or 93 meters. The statue does usually sway about 3 inches in the wind or 7.62 centimeters, and she's a swaying today because we have 26 miles per hour gusty winds today. Visitors can climb the 354 steps or 22 stories to look out from the 25 windows in the crown. It was conceived in 1865 by Frenchman Edouard de la Bouillière, but it was designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. We talked a lot about it. Construction began in 1876, and the statue was completed in France in 1885. It's a figure of Libertas, a robed Roman liberty goddess, and Bartholdi used his mother as the model. Excuse my allergies just kicked in.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get these seagulls that are like flying right next to the...
I wish you could go in.
Enjoying us. They're enjoying our tour. So engineer Gustave Eiffel, who would later design the Eiffel Tower, of course in Paris, designed the Liberties. And during the construction, on play at various exhibits to raise money for the completion, and actually have a couple pictures of those displays when they were sent around. I'm going to put that into the chat right now, so you can see in the chat when they sent those bits of the statue as they were building it around. And if you've been on our Madison Square Park tour before, you know how they use the arm with the torch in Madison Square Park to help raise funds for the finishing of the island of this pedestal. Was completed in 18. was ultimately dedicated October 28th, 1886. So in the statue, we've got these huge iron columns that support a metal framework that holds kind of a thin copper skin, that 300 sheets of it. And of course, copper turns green because of oxidation over time, so that's why we get her lovely green color. Now, the arm with the torch at the top measures 46 feet or 14 meters. The finger is about 8 feet or 2.4 meters. The nose, nearly 5 feet or 1.5 meters. That's quite a nose. People visit Lady Liberty a year. Many days, thousands of people do get turned away, by the way, because of lack of tickets. So do know that if you want to go visit Lady Liberty, you should definitely purchase tickets in advance.
You can go up Crown still, but you can no longer walk up to the arm. They haven't done that for many, many years.
Now I'll chat about some of the symbols of Earth's 7 seas, meaning over the torch. Enlightenment, and it's meant to light the way to freedom and guide us toward the path of liberty and justice. The slab is actually a big tablet with the Roman numerals inscribed, reading July 4th, 1776, the date of American independence.
We're
the boat's turning. I couldn't even see. I was trying to keep the microphone out of the wind, tucked in a corner. Okay, we're going to move to the other side. Oh my goodness, I can't get over how beautiful this day is. It's really just incredible. I mean, that sun is just perfect. So, the official name of Lady Liberty is Liberty Enlightening the World. You can hear a helicopter going above us, by the way. Also, check out Liberty's feet. Maybe we'll zoom in a little bit and see. We'll see as much as we can. I want to point out that they're surrounded by a broken shackle and chains, and it shows her as a goddess free from oppression and servitude, and it's very much meant to reflect the recent abolition of slavery in our country at the time of the history of the statue. 1865, Frenchman Edouard de La Bouillière proposed the idea of presenting a monumental gift from the people of France to the people of the United States. He was president of the French Anti-Slavery Society, a prominent political thinker of the time, and an ardent supporter of America. And he wanted to commemorate the centennial of the Declaration of Independence, as well as celebrate the close relationship between France and America. And he was also moved by the abolition of slavery. So that's kind of where the ideas came from. And Bartholdi, our sculptor of this, his proclamation. So Bartholdi felt the same and began conceptualizing this colossal structure, again, which, symbolizes the liberty enlightening the world. That torch representing enlightenment, the 7 rays in the crown representing the 7 seas and the 7 continents and the rays of light. Now, France would ultimately be responsible for creating the statue and assembling it in the United States. But the American people would fund and build the pedestal. You want to go there? Ooh, there we go. So that we chatted about that on our Madison Square Park tour as well, where there was a lot of different ways that they would raise funds to help pay for it. Emma Lazarus, the poet, wrote her famous sonnet, The New Colossus, in 1883 for an art and literary auction. I think I might have cut out when I was talking about Joe Pulitzer, but basically he placed an ad in the papers to the readers to donate to the cause, and they would print their name in the paper, so they got a little bit of acclaim. 120,000 people donated over $100,000 in that fund. And construction was ultimately completed in France, July of 1884. And again, October 1886. Now, for the transatlantic voyage to get here, the statue was reduced to 350 and packed in 214 crates. It arrived here in New York Harbor June 17th, 1885. And while awaiting construction of the pedestal, the statue remained in pieces on what was then called Bedloe's Island, now known as Liberty Island, where the statue is right now. And the pedestal was completed April 1886, and then finally on October 28, 1886, President Grover Cleveland oversaw the dedication of the Statue of Liberty in front of thousands of spectators. Look at that view on this gorgeous day. It's really just remarkable.
Yeah, Rebecca, no, we can't get off of the boat. We have, we're directly connected to the Wi-Fi on the boat. That's why when we put this tour together, we put in the description that we'd just be on the boat.
Now, Liberty Island, by the way, is a bay. It's the federally owned island, so that's the water we're in right now, the New York Bay. It was originally known as Bedloe's Island, as I was just saying, part of Needham. Technically, the island is considered part of Manhattan. Now, what you're seeing is move to the other side of the boat as we're heading back north away from the Statue of Liberty. So Governor's Island, you can see there in the distance, perfect place to visit. Of Governor's Island, you're seeing, ooh, less windy in this little nook. Yeah. You'll see Brooklyn is on the other side. Oh, a little bit of the Staten Island Ferry might be coming into your view soon as well. Now, Governor's Island was the home of the Coast Guard for quite some time, and the city bought it from the federal government for, I believe, $1. It's a multi-purpose island at this point. They've turned a lot of it into a public park. It's really, really terrific. So you're seeing Brooklyn there in the distance. Those tall buildings that you're seeing is Brooklyn there on the far side over there. And as we start to move north, in fact, actually, if we were to go straight and kind of curve around the southern tip, we'd be right there by Brooklyn Island if you're putting all the pieces of New York together from our tours, basically. But now we're seeing the southern tip of Manhattan. So that would be the financial district that you're seeing coming into view right there. Sue, I think you must have tuned in a smidge late because we showed some cruise ships at the beginning, but I bet you'll see it again when we pull back into the dock. So you're seeing a little bit of One World Trade. You're seeing the financial district all down here in this area.
Anybody, just to give you some your bearings, anybody that's done the Battery Park tour with us, that is right there where my finger is.
So this whole area right here in the foreground, this would be known as Battery Park City, and it's mainly a residential 92-acre, 37-hectare planned community neighborhood on the west side. So the neighborhood is named for the Battery, formerly known as Battery Park, and more than a third of this development is parkland, even though it doesn't really look like it because of all the buildings, but it is, believe it or not. So the land upon which it was built was actually created by using over 3 million cubic yards of soil and rock that was excavated during the construction of the World Trade Center, the New York City Water Tunnel, and a few other construction projects around town. And they created all new property, essentially. So that started in 1973 and finished in 1978. And I'm actually going to put a couple pictures into the chat of the Park City, because it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around what that looks like. But you can see now, if you've closed the chat, open up pictures of this literally new that they created. You can even see the original World Trade Center towers there to give you an idea where that is located. So that's One World Trade, the new World Trade Center right there in the middle where it was, which is really just remarkable how they've formed that. Oh, beautiful views today of Lower Manhattan.
It also blows me away that they can just create with landfill, just or with add dirt and create new Manhattan real estate.
Yeah. Tina says blurry. We've got a good signal here. Yeah, maybe give it a refresh. There we go. Thanks, everybody. Can we zoom in on the green tower there? That's it might look green with the way the sun's hitting it, but that's 40 Wall Street right there. And the reason I want to talk about that is, for any of you who have been with us to the Chrysler Building and Grand Central, we talk about 40 Wall Street because this is the building that was in competition with Chrysler, the Chrysler Building. So again, that 40 Wall Street that I was talking about, the Chrysler Building to be the world's tallest building. Hoisted its kind of famous 125-foot spire to become the world's tallest building. 30. Then the Empire State Building beat it. Just like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Beat it, beat it. Incredible views of One World Trade. It opened November 2014. The architect was David Childs. Tallest building in the United States at a total height of 1,776 feet. Of course, a direct reference to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, 1776.
I'm just zoom in on that Wall Street
Oh,
for anybody
yeah.
that might have missed it. It's that spired building right in the center of your screen. It's got a green top. So that's that story about the competition with the Empire State Building.
I love that story. That sort of the Van Allen, who was the architect of the Chrysler Building, hid the spire in the Chrysler Building so that the architects of 40 Wall Street would think that they were going to be the tallest. And then at the last minute, he said, "Bahaha, gotcha," which I just think is pretty wild.
Not a sharp picture. It looks like we currently have a good signal. So on our end, so maybe give a refresh.
So we're heading back north, and it's a little bit calmer now as we head back north. So this is a nice time. If we missed a question while we were at the statue or while we were by Ellis Island, we're happy to get to that, respond to that question again. So please go ahead and give a refresh, Susan, because we currently have a decent signal, and sometimes you might even have to.
Rebecca, yes, we pre-booked the tour.
Yeah. Any ideas why skinny buildings are so popular? Because less real estate at the bottom. So you're not paying as much at the bottom there for that real estate. So I think that's part of it. Will we ever go into the statue? Sue, we lose our signal out there. So what we might do, we might do a pre-recorded tour, and then do an at-home tour. Casey, I mean, that is mainly in the south, but probably. That one's schooled by. Oh, how much is a boat ride per person, asks Heidi. We paid $35 for today's tour, and we're in the premier deck so that we had a little bit more room. And but normally, I think if you were on the lower deck, it's $30, and during the week, it's a little bit less as well. Yeah, Linda says Liberty statue and donuts at home. I think we might try to do that sometime, because that's the only way I think we'll be able to do it.
To actually go on the island is tricky because we get no signal there. And believe us, if you happen to have followed, some of the viewers know our journey with the Statue of Liberty over the last couple of years. We have tried every possible way to actually go on the island, and we've tried boosters, we've tried new cell phones, we've tried new service, we've tried the extenders, we've tried all the things, and the only way to do it is to be on the boat and stay on the Wi-Fi. So we may try to go on the island and pre-film it and then do an at-home tour of actual Liberty Island.
Oh yeah, and an Ellis Island. Yeah, good idea. So I want to talk about a little bit about the Empire State Building because it's so beautifully in view. Actually, you're getting the Empire State Building and One Vanderbilt back to back, and One Vanderbilt is the one where the summit. When we took you up to the summit observation deck, right around New Year's, I think we went up there with Heygo. That's the building behind it. But the Empire State Building you see right there, that was designed by William Lamb. They began construction March of 1930 and it opened 13 and a half months later, May of 1931. And as I was chatting about earlier, they took over. Oh, you see the Chrysler Building there as well. That's kind of perfect. The Chrysler Building looks super short, but that's because it's further in the distance. Yeah, Mike, there you go. So that's why it looks so short. It's further away from the Empire State Building from us right now. So ultimately, when you add that all up, it's wild to think about the fact that it took about 20 months ultimately to, if you include the planning and the preparation, to build the Empire State Building. I mean, for something that is so iconic, we all know about it, it's pretty wild to think that was 20 months. Work was done around the clock, 2 12-hour shifts. Steel for the building came from Pittsburgh, and a lot of it was prefabricated, so that's why they could do it so fast. 102 stories, 1,250 feet, or 380 meters. If you include the antenna at the top, 1,454 feet, or 443 meters. And it was the world's tallest building until the completion of the World Trade Center in 1970. Gorgeous views of it today. Just incredible.
Yeah, it really is. We couldn't have asked for a perfect day.
Now, believe it or not, Manhattan is getting a public beach. You heard that right. Right here on the Hudson River. It's going to be right in this area. So when that opens up, I think later this summer, we're going to go to the beach. We'll take you all to the beach. Why not? Just beyond that, you're going to start to see Little Island coming back into view. And I'll chat about that again in case anybody might have tuned in a little bit late. But Little Island was one of the newest parks here on the in Manhattan. I'm going to pause there. Our signal dipped for a second, but I think it's back. But it was designed by Thomas Heatherwick. And it got entrances at 13th and 14th Streets all the way on the west side of the island. You'll maybe see glimpses of the High Line behind it. It's right by the High Line, which is our urban trail on an old dilapidated railway. We'll have a tour back on the High Line and Little Island very soon, actually. And it's meant to look like a leaf floating on the water with the corners upturned. I think you can kind of see it from this angle a little bit better than when we actually give the tour. And when folks enter the island, they wanted it to be like you were entering Oz. You were leaving the city and you were entering the merry old land of Oz. It's open in the summertime from 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. It might be a little bit close a little bit earlier right now in the colder weather, but it is open. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
365 days a year.
Just going to zoom in on there because we get a great view by zoom in of that outdoor performance space right there. That's a little stage with the Hudson River in the background, which is such a cool thing. We've seen a couple of performances there.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just really remarkable. We also get a great view right here of Pier 57 coming to view. I'm going to do a little point. So Pier 57 was actually an old bus storage facility, but they're turning that into, it's going to be kind of multi-purpose. There's going to be some shops in there, but also almost like an artist's facility where there'll be studios for artists, galleries, but open to the public. You'll be able to go in and check it out and enjoy it with a rooftop area as well for, thanks Vicki, for cafes and enjoying the water and having a drink outside. Chelsea Piers called again is the outdoor area with the performance space that Patrick was talking about. And the Pier 57 is that new sort of artist area that's going to be opening up. It's slowly rolling out. If that's the one you meant, Vanessa, I'm not sure exactly which one you mean.
And then, of course, yeah, as Robin said, this is Chelsea Pier. We're looking at a huge sports complex. And
yeah. And as we get a view of, we actually get a good view of the edge from this location, I'm realizing. And we didn't see it as we were heading south. But I like to say that looks like a chicken's beak up there. But that's the top of Hudson Yards. And that's the observation deck up there. Oh, Vanessa, that leaf complex that's known as Little Island. I see. Yeah, thanks. The floating leaf. Yeah, Little Island is what that's called. So the edge is another new observation deck here in Manhattan. We haven't done a tour up there yet.
We haven't. Maybe you can sort of see the moon behind.
Oh, you can. How?
It'll come back into view. It's behind the edge now.
It's caught between the moon and New York City. The edges. When you get caught between the moon and New York City. There it is. Little sliver of it. Hiding behind the tower again.
Yeah, wow.
I cannot believe how gorgeous this day is. And now we're officially out of the wind now that we're headed back north.
Boy,
incredible!
That really got the better of it.
Yeah. So you're gonna hear the boat guide again. What was he saying? Something about.
I think. I think the food.
Okay.
The food.
Oh, gotcha.
Concessions is closed.
I was just making sure he wasn't saying we had to be back. So you're gonna see the vessel coming into view and the outside, the rest of Hudson Yards, the lower area. This. The High Line curves around. I'm going to do a little point, curves around to this area right here, by the way. That's the spot that we don't always get over to, but I think we're going to ultimately make our way over to that spot soon.
The cruise, I think, is an hour to get there and back.
Yeah.
That, of course, is the vessel right there, and Hudson Yards shopping right behind it. And then I'll zoom back out to give a full view of the Hudson Yards.
It's framing the Empire State Building. Get that picture. I hope some of you got it. It was a good little frame shot right there. I can tell the captain to turn around. We can try to get it again. Excuse me, do you mind turning around again? Lynn was asking about the cruise length as well, by the way. There are other cruises. There is one that goes underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, which we love. It's really terrific. But it is just a lot longer and harder to do for Heygo tour purposes.
Yeah, that was, I think, 90 minutes.
Yeah. And then they even have another one that goes all the way around the Manhattan, which I think is 3 hours. And it's a long one. I recommend packing a snack for that one.
3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour. Somebody said, what's your favorite place in New York City? So I'll ask you, Patrick.
Central Park.
Oh, wow. He didn't miss a beat.
No.
Patrick says Central Park.
I'll go to Central Park any day.
I think my favorite part of New York City... Oh, goodness. I do love going on the High Line because I love the idea of converting something old and dilapidated into something new and fresh. I just think that's so cool. So we're coming back near towards our dock, and you're seeing the Intrepid coming back into view. We're going to be docking in Midtown. The Intrepid, if you tuned in, the U.S. Navy ship for 3 decades, beginning in 1943. It was part of World War II. War, the space race, the Vietnam War, and now it is a terrific museum if you are a fan of airships and anything, any kind of military-related items. If you're a fan of that, it's a great museum. I oftentimes think it's a pleasing museum for families because kids like to go on the ships, and oftentimes Dad might be interested in some of the battleship aspects, but maybe not the Broadway shows. Jan, the helicopters kind of leave from a few different areas. They leave from a little bit south of us, but then some leave from near the southern tip of the island as well.
Should we go to the other side and
so
they can see the cruise ship?
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, almost ran into that pole. So here you'll see the Norwegian cruise ship, the tail end of it over there.
Yeah, there's that cruise ship that we saw when we left. You can see that sticking out, little butt end of it.
So we're pulling back into dock. Sometimes that can thwart our signal, but hopefully it stays nice and strong as we pull back in.
Another good shot of the Intrepid here, which I've never. You've been on the Intrepid. I've never been to the Intrepid.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah, it's a terrific museum to hit. And for those that also might have tuned in late, know that we were in the Hudson River today. That was what we've been in today on this beautiful day, 9 degrees Celsius, 49 degrees Fahrenheit, windy.
We're pretty much right where Sully landed the plane. It was all like Midtown, right?
Yeah,
right here.
Maybe just a smidge north of us, basically. You see, we lost our hats. Not in the water, they're in my pockets, but they were blowing off. Thank you all for joining us today on our trip down to Liberty Island. My hair is a mess from the wind.
I don't know what you're going to do. I'll curl it when we get home.
Oh, gosh. We're so glad you all joined us. We're glad the signal stayed relatively strong today. And thanks for putting up with any dips. We know we're at the mercy of the boat, but it was relatively strong.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're going to be at Macy's for the opening of their flower show.
We're going down there right now after this tour to just to do some testing. We try our best to to test tours before we get there. This one is tricky. We did test it before we started doing the tours on this boat, which, it still thwarted us today. The signal is just always something to overcome, but thank you for putting up with it.
And then on Tuesday, we're going to the Upper West Side, our first time doing the Upper West Side on a tour. So we have 2 new tours this week, which is exciting. Heidi, I love that idea of the Brooklyn Flea, and honestly, it had never crossed my mind, so I'm glad you mentioned that. the Brooklyn Flea is a really cool outdoor market. We'll check that out. We'll test it and see if we get a good strong signal. So they're telling folks to get off, but we'll wrap it up before they really push us off, because they're still, I think, docking as well. But yeah, so those are our 2 new ones coming up this week, and then on Wednesday we're going to be back in Central Park 3, which is kind of our arts tour of Central Park.
You clearly know the Upper West Side, know Manhattan, because the Upper West Side is a very large area. Obviously, we're not going to show all of the Upper West Side. We're going to be focused on, I don't know, it'll be like
70s.
Around the low 70s we're going to focus on.
Yeah. We're going to show off a lot of the luxury apartment buildings that are on the Upper West Side, and we'll talk about why that came to be on the Upper West Side. But there's a lot to show, so we just kind of picked a little specific area.
Yeah.
We know today's tour was busy. We thank you for putting up with the rough signal. We thank you for we think we caught most of the questions. If we missed any, we apologize. We do our best. And Faith, you can check out the private tours. We have some of them posted on our page, and you can always reach out about any separate ones that aren't posted. But yeah, we do private tours on Heygo. Thank you for all of us, from us to all of you for joining us today. We're glad you're with us. And if you want to see any other upcoming tours, please feel free to follow us.
Yeah. You can hit that follow button up here in the corner, or just go to heygo.com/Aaron and Patrick. Thanks so much, and we're going to leave you with this nice shot of a beautiful Manhattan skyline there. That's Midtown Manhattan you're looking at. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you soon.